Hi,
Hi.
Jazzers.
Hi, guys. I'm Stephen Allerick.
I'm Saskia Garel.
I'm Julia Wyson.
Edmund Wyson.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you guys digitally.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
it's nice putting faces to the names that we see in the newsletters.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, congratulations. I saw somebody's name twice this
Oh,
morning.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been on Avail for that for like, it feels like a century. So I don't know if it's going to happen.
Oh, Avail.
I know.
It's how it is, right? Like, the kind of little idiosyncrasies of our industry that people don't, the average person doesn't know about. It's interesting,
Oh,
The amount
I
of-
think I remember like the first time I was on Avail back in the day when it's like, oh my God, I'm on Avail. That's so exciting. And then you're like, oh, yeah.
my first time with JS, like I've been with John for forever, for 18 years, I think now. And I remember my first 5 auditions, I got put on Avail. First 5 auditions, all of them put on Avail, booked none of them. He was like, I promise you, it's not going to be like this.
My dad actually said that to me way back when I was first in Chicago and I was an actor and I had auditioned. And I had a stretch too. This was with theatrical, with Legit. And I kept coming in, like it would get down to 2 of us. And then my dad made that comment to me, he goes, wow, you could go your whole career and come in second every time.
Thanks, Daddy.
Yeah, thanks.
So were you guys a couple and you got signed together with JS, or did you meet after the fact?
I was with John for a while, and then I was like, you ought to submit to John.
Well, actually, what happened was our son had been born, and I sort of left. I was like, I don't think I'm an actor anymore. I'm just, I'm a mom and I'm looking at other things. I had a web design business and I was kind of thinking I wasn't an actor anymore. And Edmund kept kind of going, honey. And then there was a couple's audition. And so he's like, well, we're going to that. And so we went to the couple's audition and I was put on Avail and he wasn't.
Oh, snap.
And then he's like, you really need to talk to John. And I said, okay, John, here's my deal. Let me be completely upfront with you. And that's how we both ended up getting signed.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
really cool.
It kind of worked the same way with you too. You were
Yeah,
signed to him first.
I mean, pretty much I'm moving to LA. I had a friend that was with the agency, and then that's how I ended up with John. And then, years later, Sass had signed with somebody else. And then years later, it just kind of came around, So
did you guys meet in LA?
No, we're both from Toronto.
Oh,
Sass was born and raised in Jamaica. So we kind of have an interesting story because our families knew each other. And she's a Canadian pop star.
Oh my gosh.
So I used to watch her videos and drool, right? And then, as time went on, like our paths finally crossed. Like she sang at you sang at my cousin's wedding, and then we auditioned for something together, and she thought, my brother was her friend, and they actually have the exact same name. So we carried on a conversation for like 10 minutes until we realized it's a different person that we're talking about with the same name.
Awesome.
And then we did the Lion King together, and that's how we met.
Oh, that's great.
Like officially met.
In Toronto, Lion King in Toronto.
Yeah. We both did Toronto, actually. So we both did Toronto. I did New York. I did LA for a little bit. She did LA and then went to Chicago.
I did Chicago.
We're
Cool.
both spent professional time
And that's
in
where
Chicago.
Nice. Oh, that's where you guys met?
Yeah.
Nice.
We met we were both taking acting classes from the same place, and he was working as the janitor to pay for his classes, and I was working as the secretary to pay for my classes. And one of the teachers kept wanting to set us up, and we kind of made it all happen without her, and we didn't tell her for a while, and then finally we were like, okay, you were right, we do make a good couple.
That's so great.
That's hilarious. I love the dedication too, man. Like, I'm doing acting class. I don't care what it takes. And that's so cool.
So is your kid in the business as well?
He, as a child, he worked way more than either of us. He had a fantastic career as a kid, did a ton of commercials, did a couple series, one series regular, a recurring regular, a couple of films. Wow. He worked all the time. And then he went to Laksa as a cinematic arts student, and he was like, okay, I want to be on the other side of the camera. This acting stuff is for the birds. I have no interest. And
I don't think he ever said for the birds, but
yeah, but
definitely wanted to be on the other side of the camera.
which actually that's I mean, looking back, that was like the very first job. It happened to be A Curious Case of Benjamin Button. And I thought he had a crush on Elle Fanning, and I think it was really David Fincher. He sat on top of these stairs. We were in this old house in New Orleans, and he wouldn't let us leave, and it was freezing. And I'm like, oh, come on, Charles, let's go back to the hotel. He's like, no, Mom, no. And he just sat at the top of the stairs and watched shooting for like an hour.
Oh, wow.
And I think
That's what he does now.
he's on a journey, but yeah, I think he wants to be in some sort of filmmaking. He also is fascinated with stop motion animation. So those are he loves cinematography, he loves stop motion animation. So I think he'll end up something around the film business.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
And 22, and I'm guessing yours are younger.
A little bit. I mean, our son's 14 and a half now. He's almost 15. And then our daughter is 9. She's going to be 10 soon. Yeah.
And are they at all interested in the business?
They've been working a lot
Have
lately.
they?
Yeah.
Like those kids these days.
Right. Like with COVID, when COVID hit, it was like voiceovers really took over. So,
Nice.
Both of those kids, like Tristan's in Turning Red, that's coming out
Oh, that's great.
now. And
Pixar.
and then, our daughter's been working with stuff that we can't talk about. But
But
you know how the NDAs work, right? But she's been really, really, really busy too. So
that's great.
good. So how did you guys end up in LA from Chicago? Like what brought you? Other than I suppose it's just the business, right? Or
I think we loved our years in Chicago. It was great
Loved
for
it.
like non-equity theater, hitting the boards, getting experience, being part of an ensemble. And we both were in love with Chicago. And
Yeah.
she went away to grad school and came back and kind of was pushing for New York. And I'm kind of like, oh man, New York felt like more of the same of, like a bigger version of Chicago. And it's
A
like,
bigger, more expensive version of Chicago.
yeah. And it felt like the New York years had passed us.
Yeah.
I kept pushing for LA.
yeah.
And I had always sworn that I would never live in LA. I said, LA is so not my town. Absolutely not.
And now?
And now, actually, I think I'm the one who he periodically is like, let's relocate. And I'm like, no, LA.
Have you seen the sun?
Arugula in February.
And
Yeah.
Steve, I think my last commercial was in Toronto, and it was my first visit. And I fell in love with that city. And it was bitter cold winter. So to
Awesome.
to
Just
experience it like that and still fall in
Still
love
love it,
with
yeah.
Yeah. Toronto's wicked. I like Toronto a lot. But I don't miss that cold.
No, I don't either.
There's something though, I think there's that, like, it's hard to be a grown-up in a town like Chicago. It's a great place to rent an apartment and to to be doing theater and going out drinking every night and just having that kind of 20s something experience. But then when you start to think, can I buy a house? Can I still do, what's my day job? What, all that stuff. I think it was harder for us to imagine it. And we have a handful of friends who stayed there and managed to eke out some sort of
pretty
theater.
decent living.
Yeah, but except Steve, he doesn't have a kid that he has an old grown child. And I'm thinking like two or three of my friends stayed with kids and had a grown-up life and stayed doing theater. Most of my friends who stayed there they're no longer in the business. And
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we thought. If we're going to be grown-ups and stick around, we got to move to LA.
I got a good question. Do you guys have side jobs?
Funny you should ask. Do I? No, I actually have quite a number of side jobs.
Yes, because we all probably do.
Yeah, it's, I run a nonprofit theater company for children, a youth arts nonprofit.
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh.
And I teach at LAUSD. So
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
So I have a lot of side jobs and yeah,
Teach what?
English.
Okay, okay, cool.
And that's kind of a new venture, and we'll hopefully be segueing into teaching more theater through LAUSD.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
Nice, nice.
What about you, Edmund?
I don't, but our mortgage broker just told me I should get a real job.
Isn't it funny? We just signed a new mortgage, and I'm like, man, because neither of us have side jobs right now, and I'm just like, man, I might need to.
Yeah, that's
the hustle. Like I teach piano to kids in the neighborhood and reading and ukulele and all those kind of things and art. But yeah, no real side job as yet.
Well, those are side jobs though.
But
I mean,
you know
you're
what I mean,
right.
like an official
like something more like steady.
Stable.
Yeah.
There's no W-2.
Right.
Right.
Right. It's all under the table. So pretend you didn't.
And what part of town do you live in?
Redondo Beach.
Oh, nice.
Ooh,
You guys?
We're in Mid-City.
Okay.
everybody's like, where's that?
No,
Kind of close to the offices. John's.
I was gonna say close to
Oh,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's close. Like
Everything, yeah.
being there, you're close to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
We also, I think we ended up here because it was the part of the town that was the most like Chicago.
Right.
What's the name of the oh, I'm sure you guys auditioned there plenty of times. It's literally just down the street from us.
Oh, the
What's the-
Sycamore, the something Sycamore. Sycamore on La
Sonnenberg
Brea.
was there.
Is it 902 Sycamore? I don't know by the address.
That's crazy.
Not 902 Sycamore. It's like 1120 South Sycamore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Allison Horn, the other one.
Right.
We're around the corner from that.
Oh,
literally.
nice.
Okay.
And they closed it.
I know. It's like just when.
Yeah.
Man, every time I'd get an audition, I'd be like, I get to walk to an audition.
That's awesome. We certainly
Yeah, we
don't.
never
I
get
don't
that.
think
That
there's
Dan Bell, that Dan Bell. Although every time I say that, I'm like, at least it's all highway, you know,
Yes.
for us anyway.
Way out in Pasadena. I shot something in at Manhattan Beach Studios, and I was like
Oh,
thrilled because it was like not even a 10-minute drive. I was like, yes, for
Ne-
once,
never
for
happens.
once. Yeah.
And Stephen, you were just out of town for a while.
Yeah. So, well, I've been working on a number of things. So I have a film that I wrote that, is getting a little bit of interest here and there. So I'm just trying to see if I can, push that through to the finish line and get something made, a nice low budget indie, but something that's really meaningful to me, and then, so I was in Toronto for almost 2 weeks. I came back here for like a couple of days, and then I during that time, I booked an episode of Chicago Fire. So I was out
just-
so I was just in your hometown. So I just
Oh,
went
I'm
out there and
jealous.
shot it.
Where
It
did
was
they
so
put-
amazing.
Where'd they put you up?
The Sofitel.
Nice.
Yeah, like right down in that sort of downtown, what they call it? Miracle Mile?
Miracle Mile. Exactly.
Yeah. So it was, it was cool. And to see like, that production is insane because like it's 3 of them. They're all working out of
Right.
space. So like just the COVID testing alone is like, it's a machine. You walk in and it's like they have their own lab back there. I mean, it's rudimentary, but it's a lab with like 8 people working, and you know what I mean? It was insane because like I say, it's 3 top, shows all working, Chicago Fire, Chicago Med, Chicago PD, all working out of the same place.
Wow.
It was really, really interesting to see how they, put their resources together and made it all work. It was really cool. Yeah.
Those 3 shows, I think the friends of ours that are still in Chicago, I mean, that like really changed the landscape for Chicago
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Do you
did.
work with any locals that you chatted with?
I think Christian, the guy that plays Mouch, I think is from Chicago. I remember him saying, I think he's a native Chicagoan.
What's Christian's last name?
I wish I remembered. I can look it up for you.
I think he's a big Ron Lazzaretti guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, let's look him up.
Do you guys find that you worked more during COVID or less?
It was odd because, technology is not necessarily my friend. So I had to adapt to auditioning with my computer. And at first, with my wife being home and very sharp with technology, and my son was around, and they could shoot it, they could edit it. And it's like, I had no problem. And then all of a sudden he was going back to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she was going to going to be out of the house working. And I'm like, I got to figure this out quick.
No help.
It's funny because I remember my son, and I thought he was making fun of me, but he saw an edit of mine, and he goes, Dad, you're going to be really good at this in a year. And I was like, thanks a lot. He's like, no, I'm serious. And I kind of realized somebody that's been editing for 10 years, he was talking about, you don't learn this overnight.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, good for you.
And a year from now, you're going to be really good at it.
It's going to be second nature. You're not even going to think about it.
And it's getting there.
I think it's been glorious. I love the self-tapes, the first audition self-tape.
Yeah.
And just like the no traffic, the no parking. And we had a whole room set up in our basement with a blue wall that we painted. So it was just set up. We just have to walk in, shoot, and out. So we could, it's like this.
Was before COVID came, I was like, I saw the writing on the wall, either without COVID, with COVID, I was like, look, man, this is going to become normal. Yeah. So I set up, like, I made sure we got a nice DSLR, we painted wall blue. And we soundproofed it. Well, he soundproofed it and everything. And I just hope it never goes back to like, but it's not,
it's just not glorious.
No,
you still have that room.
Well, we just had a flood, which is what's happening now. The workers are here fixing our thing. So they're doing the floor. So we had to kind of close the room off for like 2 months now.
It's been a while. And Christian's last name is Stolt.
Yep.
Colte. Yeah. I think everybody else came from LA. Everybody else in the cast came from LA, but I know he had spoken about, the Chicago theater scene and stuff like that. So I think he was native.
Yeah, he's a big name you hear all the time of, the local. That's
working. Right. Very funny guy.
I'm jealous of you for your trip in your basement room.
You guys are always welcome to come tape. Once it's all fixed up.
Just zip down the highway to Redondo Beach.
The other side of this room is our audition room. And I have what do you call it? A backdrop that we pull down. And it's so nice to have a good backdrop that you pop on, as opposed to somebody else making that choice for you. I'm like, I just get lost in a white backdrop.
Right.
Listen, I went to a friend's house last night and her daughter is a TikTok queen. I mean, she makes money. Like, people send her like products just to post her stuff. She had a triple backdrop on like a rolling thing. So you could pull it up and pull down different colors. Even one that looked like leaves, like, so she could do like garden. I was like, and 3 ring lights in a semicircle. I'm like, you are serious.
Yeah. My brother is a TikTok artist. He's probably the oldest celebrity on TikTok.
That's funny.
But his living room is, the light setup, the backdrops, he's got all these gorgeous lights. I was visiting and like looking at the lights. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Every little, no worries about shadows anywhere or anything. Yeah. I think everybody's going to start.
I'm still struggling with shadows.
You need to light from 2 different directions.
Multiple, three ideally, but 2 at least.
You need at least 2, if not 3.
What's your trick? His trick is to put the one behind you so it doesn't.
The third one behind you, so it gives you
so it gets rid of that silhouette thing.
But it also like glowing.
But you're not. You mean you're lighting the back of your head or the back of the wall behind?
Yeah, no, back of your head. So what I have 3 lights. So key light, fill light to take out the shadows, but I put one that they call a hero light. So you can't, like, I stand in front of the light so you don't see the light itself, but it gives you this glow around yourself.
It looks amazing. Wow.
So it helps separate you from the background, but it also gives you that kind of angelic, like an almost aura around.
The angels singing.
Yeah.
It looks like you could walk on water, that whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That. Awesome. That's how we got to look into that, honey.
Yeah.
It's funny when my son comes home, whenever he lights me, it's like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? Yeah. And I try to copy it and it's just not the same.
You got to leave it set up, man.
I know.
Just keep it set up and then just jump in.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's in my office. And in terms of preparing us, I am the less tidy of the 2.
Okay.
So most of the time he has.
Most geniuses are messy. So just find comfort in that.
I'm the enigma. I'm the enigma.
You run with that.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Cool.
Guys, it was nice chatting with you. This was awesome.
I know, this is great. I hope we got what John wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I wonder if
yeah.
anybody will watch it to the end.
But I thought about that, like, oh, this would have been really good to be on the front end of this.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, but thank you guys for like organizing it all and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff and
Oh,
working
our
around my
pleasure.
crazy schedule the past month. Appreciate you guys so much for doing
And
that.
what a great looking couple. Wish you all the best of luck.
Good luck.
Too, as are you. Thank you so much.
Take
Care.
care.
Much love, guys. Thanks. Take care.
Bye.